Morning, guys. We've had some writing assignments on the internet, but what I want to do is go ahead and start some drawing assignments. There's some of you guys that are hopefully that are gonna end up going in an advanced class, and this stuff is really important. So, what we're gonna go over the next few lessons is how to draw a face. Okay, we're going to start drawing the different parts of the face, and what we're going to do is we're going to begin with learning how to draw the eye. So if you want to take a sheet of paper and just go ahead and fold it in half. Okay, we're going to be making an eye drawing over here on this top half. And I'm going to draw it kind of big for you guys so you can see what's going on. Best thing to do is to use a normal pencil instead of a mechanical pencil, so you can get, especially whenever it gets kind of dull, you'll have these nice thick lines. Okay, and so let me start off by doing a bad example of what we don't want to see. Okay, we don't want to see a complete big circle with eyelashes coming straight out and, oops, something like that. Okay, that would be a terrible eye. I don't want anything that looks like that. What we want to do is, first of all, pay attention to the shape of the eye. It's not a circle. Well, your eyeball is a circle, but whenever you look at somebody's eye, it's going to be more of a football shape. So that's how we're going to start off with our paper. What we're going to do is we're going to leave a little bit of space up here on the top. I'm going to draw kind of like a football shape over here towards the bottom. Okay, just kind of light. And what we're going to do, if you look and you notice somebody's eye, on the inside part of the eye, we'll make this the inside, it's going to be kind of round. Okay, and then the outside part over here is going to be pointy. So you notice I have this top line kind of extending past the bottom line. Okay, so there's our general shape, and this is a generic eye. This is everybody has different looking eyes, so this is just kind of a generic one. Another thing, on our bad example over here, you're looking at the whole eye, right? If you look at somebody directly, you're not going to usually see the whole part of the color part of the eye. Okay, and we might as well talk about those things right now. The color part is called the iris. Okay, and then this black part in the middle is the pupil. And as we're drawing, if you can imagine, here's our big eyeball over here, and we're looking at the iris. The iris is usually partially covered by the top eyelid. Okay, so you would only be seeing part of it, because the top of it would be, like I mentioned, it'd be over here. You won't see that part. Okay, this is the color part, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make the pupil that goes on the inside of that. The pupil, I'm just drawing this line really lightly right here so you can see what I'm talking about, but you don't want the pupil to be exactly the same amount of space all the way around, kind of like a donut. So if I'm going to make my pupil like this, okay, what I want to do is make sure that I have the same amount of space going all the way around, right? Just like if it was a donut. People tend to they'll put their, like, let's say here's our iris, tend to put the pupil up here. You'll notice there's a little tiny space and a big fat space over here. You don't want that. You want it to be totally in the middle. Okay, so as you're working on this, go ahead and draw your pupil in the middle. Okay, next thing what we're going to do is we're going to talk about different parts of the eye. Over here on the inside, there's this little pink area, and that's called your tear duct. Okay, so we're just going to have a little line right there for now representing that part. Okay, and what are we going to do next? Next thing is we are going to create the thickness of this eyelid over here. Okay, if you were looking, let's pretend here's an eyeball, right? And we're looking at it this way. So here's your top eyelid, and here's the bottom eyelid. Here's the skin that comes up, there's a wrinkle, and here's your eyebrow. Here's a person's nose that's going over. Well, be way longer than that. But you see their eyeball. Okay, Here's your eyelashes and stuff. Here's your iris, pupil. What's going to happen is this distance from here to here, that's that thickness of your bottom eyelid. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to create that line by coming a little bit over here on the inside and create another double line. Okay, and what's going to happen is that's going to represent that thickness of the eyelid to where it's touching the eyeball and to where it's the outside of the eyelid. Okay, so we've got the thickness of our bottom lid, our iris, and our pupil. Okay, and right here we have all the lines that we need. From here on out, everything's going to be mostly shading. Okay, so to do that, what we want to do is we want to make the eye look wet. Okay, because what happens is when you blink, you're blinking, this eyelid is opening and closing, keeps moisture on the eye. And what we want to do is we want to represent that by creating, a little reflection area. Let's say the sun's coming from this direction, or maybe there's a bright light or whatever. What we're going to do is have a little reflection area. So what I'm going to do is just kind of make a little rectangle over here. And the whole time I'm drawing, I'm going to leave this completely white, because that's like going to be a reflection. That's going to give us the illusion that the eye's going to be wet. So what do we know about the pupil? We're going to color this in completely what? It's going to be black, right? So I'm going to come in here and shade this thing totally black. And as I'm doing this, and you guys are doing this too, hopefully, whenever people are drawing comic book characters or whatever, if they want the person to look friendly, what they usually do is give them a big pupil. Okay, and if you want the person to look evil, then they would probably go and make a smaller looking pupil. Okay, I'm drawing this eye kind of big, so it's going to take me a while to fill all this in, but the pupil would be completely black. Okay, and next part, what we're going to do is we're going to shade in the iris. That's the colored part of the eye. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever looked at your eye up really close, but if you do, you would notice that there's all these different kinds of lines coming. It's a bunch of, actually you see a bunch of different colors, right? There's like these little craters, I don't know what you call them, but kind of like a bunch of little, well, it's the muscle, and what's happening is making your pupil open and close, right? So this thing expands and contracts. And so you'll notice what I'm doing is I'm putting in these little muscle tears or craters or whatever they are. I'm not sure what the medical term would be. But as you're shading your iris, if you want the person to have light colored eyes, you're not going to shade it that much. If you want them to have a darker color eyes, then obviously you're going to come in here and shade it a little bit more. But as you're doing it, you want to have all your marks, all your hatch marks, all your shading, the lines, you want them to go out towards the outside. Okay. So I'm going to have this look like if this person has kind of light colored eyes. Come in here, maybe darken these, a few of them. Just kind of make it look a little random. Make it so perfect. Because if you make it too perfect, then it's going to look fake. Okay. Okay, so we have our pupil and our iris. What I'll do is come in here and darken this up a little bit too, the outside. Okay, next thing. What happens is whenever we're looking at this eye, right, you have this top eyelid, and especially some eyelashes, and we'll draw those last. Eyelashes are going to extend, and usually the light tends to come from the top, right? So what's happening is this is creating kind of like a little shadow on our eye. So what's going to happen is that this top part would have a little bit more shading. Down here towards the bottom, that's where you're going to be catching a little bit more light. That would have, that's going to look brighter. So what I'm going to do, all along the top over here, what I'm going to do is fade it out. Just going to have it go kind of from dark and fade it out. It's going to be getting lighter as it comes down. I'm going to do that all top. You'll notice all this time that I've been working, I've been trying to stay out of this little reflection area. And that's so I can keep my eye like if it's looking moist. Okay. Just fade it out. I'm pressing harder up here towards the top and then get lighter as it comes down. Alright. So our eye's coming along pretty well. Next thing we want to do is shade in the tear duct area, and what it's doing, it has like this curve to it. So in here we want it to be the darkest, and as it comes out, it's going to get lighter, and then it's going to curve back down in. So over here by the eyeball, it's going to be darkest. So I'm going to go from dark and just fade it out so it gets lighter. And this little area, since it's pink, it's light. It's going to be a little bit darker than the rest of the eye. Okay. All right. Next thing, let's go ahead and shade this a tiny little bit, because this would be kind of pink as well. And what I'm doing is just shading this little space between where the eyeball is and the outside of the eyelid. Okay. So from here, everything we've been doing is shading. Another thing what we want to do before we get too far into this is whenever, you'll notice I have a line right here in this drawing. Whenever this eyelid is moving, well, it's blinking, it's opening and closing, what's going to happen is whenever the eyelid comes up, it's going to create like a little fold. And what we want to do is represent that. I'm going to make a little line over here, a curve. That's going to be where the skin is coming together whenever this eyeball is open. Okay, and since I'm shading right now, we'll just pretend these two things aren't here. Okay, what we're going to do is just kind of fade it out. This is the darkest area because this is, you know, the deepest part in here, and as it comes out, it's going to be getting a little bit lighter. So darker over here, and just fade it out. And then we would have a little bit coming up this way as well. So dark here, and just kind of fade it out. Fade it out. What am I doing on time? 12 minutes. It's 13. We have these short class schedules that we're supposed to be following right now, so I'm trying to do this. And that way it's not taking you more than one day on this. Okay, so we have our top eyelid shaded, right? And the only thing we're missing now is some eyelashes. So that's what we're going to do. What we want to do is create the illusion that this eyelash is coming out and it's curling up, right? And we can't make it do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the illusion of that curl by having our eyebrows go towards the outside of the eye. So what I'm going to do is come in here, and some are going to be longer, some are going to be a little bit shorter. And this whole time that I've been working, my pencil lead has been getting a little bit more duller. If it's even duller, that'd be better. But what I'm going to do is just keep it really random, okay? Because if you look at your eyelashes, you'll notice that they're not going to be totally perfect like how I did over here in this bad example. We don't want anything that looks like a sun, okay? We don't want that. We want, you know, just random, like maybe we have one that's just going in some crazy direction, right? It's not even following the rest of them. And you don't want 10,000 eyelashes in here either, okay? Okay, so we have our eyelashes over here on the top lid. Now what we're going to do is put some on the bottom lid. And I think you guys know, as you look at your eye, you tend to have more lashes on the top lid than you do on the bottom lid. So I'm going to have some, same thing, they're going to be curling towards the outside, but I'm not going to have quite as many as how I had on the top. Just throw some random ones in here that go in the wrong direction so it looks more realistic. Okay, this would be kind of like a guy eye. So what's the difference between a guy's eye and a girl's eye? There's nothing, right, except for all the different product that girls put on their eyes. So some of the things that they do is they'll put on eyeshadow. So if you wanted to come in here You could shade this a little bit more, right? So it looks a little bit darker. And main thing is they'll put on, can't think of what it's called right now. They put this goopy stuff on their eyelashes. What's that? Oh, mascara. And so what's going to happen is that would really thicken up these eyelashes. So if you want it to look like a girl, you definitely want to come in here, and I'm trying to go as thick and as hard as I can. Try and give this person some thicker eyelashes. Okay. Now it looks really heavy. Same thing on the bottom. She's putting this makeup stuff on her eye. Okay. And what I always try to do is throw in some random ones. That way it looks more realistic. I already have like 10,000 eyelashes. It'd be better if I was drawing this a little bit smaller. Okay. But anyways, moving on. Another thing that the girls put on their eye is eyeliner. And so what they'll do is come in here and darken up this area. Right? So we can put a nice thick line. And something that I just barely learned, what was it, last year or the year before, is girls like to paint a little thing coming out here called the wing. I didn't know that. And you're going to put a little bit of thickness over here on the bottom part as well. And you'll notice that all of this stuff is coming off of the outside line, right? We don't want anything coming out of the inside line. And so there we go. All we're missing right now is some eyebrows and stuff, and I didn't leave myself enough space to talk about that, but whenever we put the whole face together, I'll show you guys how that works. Okay, so go ahead and practice this. What I'm going to do is go ahead and attach a handout of some other eye drawings. So you have this one that we did together, and then what I would like for you guys to do is here on the bottom half, try and draw at least 3 or 4 other ones. Okay, all right.